Swadikap, welcome back to Striking Nation. Before we start the breakdown and analysis, I have to say that this video is actually the remake of a video that I have already made a long time ago, but I have deleted that video due to copyright reason. The material is still up to date, everything is still really interesting, and I still recommend you to watch the whole thing through and appreciate the level of skill of Nong-O Hama. So I won't hold you here any longer and enjoy the video. Thank you. Swadikap. Last Saturday was Nong-O versus Kongthoranee, the rematch. And Nong-O performance in that fight was just purely incredible. And I can now say that Nong-O, who has been known in Thailand as Raja Kha aka the Unkillable King, is finally back and showing who he actually is. I have three main things that I want to really break down and point out about the changes that Nong-O made coming into this rematch as compared to the first time they fought each other. First of all is the improvement in his volume. Secondly is the adjustment to his kicking game. And lastly, his defense style. And the biggest thing would probably be his kicking game. Really excited to talk about that. And you know what? I will just start and get into the breakdown and analysis right now. So first of all, let's get into the volume. This is probably the most noticeable change that happened from their first fight coming into this rematch. Nong-O has spoken multiple times in his interview after losing to Kongthoranee. He was saying that the reason why he lost in the first encounter was likely due to his low volume. He was putting so much focus on keeping his weight down, dropping from bantamweight to flyweight, which I guess kind of lower his fighting quality. I do agree with him that the reason why he lost in the first encounter was mostly due to his low volume approach. And in this fight, he really changed it up like night and day. The first round alone, Nong-O was landing around 35 strikes, just roughly counted. But if you compare this to the last fight, he was only landing around 23 strikes in the first round. This is a 52% increase. And also, I'm not counting all those setup shots, whether it's the jab or like all those air shots that he missed with his kick. This is just a strike that actually land on Kongthoranee, which means that if you include every strike that Nong-O attempt, that is going to be even higher volume. And I think everyone sort of noticed this happening, especially his punching game. Because in the first fight, Nong-O was mainly just doing kick, but this time round, he actually mixed in his punch and kick really well, which significantly improved in his volume issue that he was talking about. But I also believe that his leg is also more active, especially in the first and the third round. And due to the amount of pressure he generates from all the volume he's throwing, he is able to gain the lead on Kongthoranee and have the advantage from round 1 to round 3. It is also really interesting to point out that Nong-O, despite him already being 38 years of age, he is nearly 40 years old and his cardio is better than me. Like, that is just extremely impressive. And Nong-O wasn't really conservative about his strike. So the fact that Nong-O seemed to be outlasting in terms of cardio against Kongthoranee, especially in the third round, that really say a lot about his work ethic and his cardio and his training, and the fact that moving down a weight class is definitely the right decision. Now, why don't we talk about the most important aspect that I really kind of make this whole video about, the kicking game that Nong-O bring into this fight and how he changes from the first time he faced with Kongthoranee. In the first encounter, Nong-O mostly just throw his kick with no setup, just purely naked kick, just swinging in whether it's to the leg or to the body. His kick was definitely heavy. It can move Kongthoranee. However, because the way he throws his kick is also so much easier for Kongthoranee to dodge, absorb, and counter. Since Nong-O wasn't doing too much to hide those kicks in the first encounter, you can see this pattern kind of repeat multiple times, especially the absorb and counter. So Kongthoranee would widen his base and absorb Nong-O kick with either his arm or just letting the kick land onto his body. By doing this, he's super stable once he absorbs the kick. He's less likely to be pushed back by Nong-O heavy kick, allowing him to stay in the striking range in which he would counter back with his own punches. And if he got a chance and was able to time when Nong-O is about to kick, he can also interrupt Nong-O kick with his own punches. You can see this happening with Kongthoranee jab, where the jab would land around the same time that the kick land, which means that Kongthoranee is able to reduce the impact of Nong-O kick as he not only move closer to Nong-O, which reduce the damage from the kick, but also throw Nong-O off balance while throwing those kicks. Now, Nong-O have something to worry about coming off after this first encounter. So what did Nong-O do to counter this strategy that Kongthoranee used on him the first time round? He include hand combination into this rematch. Now, Nong-O no longer go for naked kick, but set them up with a variety of his own punches, since the job of this punch is to overwhelm Kongthoranee to stop him from reading Nong-O kick. These punches doesn't even need to be heavy or even land on Kongthoranee in the first place. This punch's job is just to keep Kongthoranee busy, just to overwhelm him and stop him from trying to read Nong-O kick when it's coming in. It make it really difficult for Kongthoranee to dodge Nong-O kick or even closing in when the kick is coming, which means that Nong-O can land his kick even heavier and even more accurate. And after landing the kick, instead of just blocking and retreating like last time and get counterattacked by Kongthoranee, Nong-O flow into a hand combination of his own to capitalize on the kick landing nicely on Kongthoranee, which is something I believe he didn't take advantage of the last time. And this time round, as you can see, he did that and it worked just incredibly well. And now the last piece of the puzzle that made Nong-O kick work so well in this time was where he was landing all those kicks. It was on Kongthoranee left arm. As you know, Kongthoranee is a southpaw fighter and his most dangerous weapon is definitely his left arm, especially his left counter shot. So part of Nong-O game plan this time round was to take away this super important weapon that Kongthoranee have by just beating the hell out of that arm so he wouldn't be able to throw his punches effectively, slow it down, reduce the amount of damage they can deal, just breaking the most important weapon that your opponent have. So how exactly did Nong-O land all those kicks on Kongthoranee arm without him adjusting to Nong-O game plan? First of all, it's a southpaw versus orthodox fight, which means landing kick to the opponent open side is a lot easier than traditional southpaw or orthodox fight. So Nong-O was angle his kick and aim right around the shoulder area slightly lower, which is going to be higher than a traditional Muay Thai roundhouse kick where you normally aim for around the ribcage. And by doing that, Kongthoranee have two choices to either defense or evade from that kick. He can either block with a double arm block using both his left and right arm, or he can squeeze in and just block with his left arm alone, or do a lean back to get away from those kicks. However, the way that Nong-O has been throwing this kick makes it really difficult for Kongthoranee to time a perfect lean back due to the fact that Nong-O has been setting all this kick up with just a barrage of punches that he's been pumping out for this entire fight, which means that Nong-O has successfully conditioned Kongthoranee to block with his own left arm. And the damage just keep accumulating on Kongthoranee left arm over and over and over again. And at first glance, right, you might think that landing your kick onto opponent arm wouldn't really do too much damage. So why exactly does Nong-O want to do that? First of all, it makes it so that Kongthoranee is unable to counter Nong-O kick with his own left straight, which is his signature move. Since if Kongthoranee decide to throw in a left straight, that would exactly be the perfect sweet spot for a head kick right on the shin. So Kongthoranee isn't gonna take those chances, and in turn he just keeps sacrificing his arm and getting kicked over and over and over again. If you see, especially in the third round where Kongthoranee volume dropped so much, you could say that it might be the cardio, but I would say that mostly it's because he has been getting hit on his left arm for so much that his arm would be really heavy at that point. His speed obviously dropped. His power would obviously drop, and at that point, his left straight isn't going to be as effective as it used to be. And the last point that I want to talk about is the defensive game of Nong-O this time round. In the first fight, Nong-O was really keen on having a high guard to block Kongthoranee punches. He absorbed kick with his arm, check Kongthoranee kick, and just take a lot of damage just in that fight. He wasn't really moving around too much. He was noticeably quite slow and more like sluggish fighter. Like he would take a shot, return the shot, and obviously that would make it really difficult for the judge to tell who is winning if you're just trading shot at each other. But on the other side, he did have some evasive movement, whether it's the lean back against Kongthoranee punches or head kick. But mostly he was just taking those shots. So this time round with the rematch, Nong-O has turned it up once again, night and day. He was being super evasive. He still kept his guard high, but now doesn't just absorb Kongthoranee attack anymore. His footwork and movement was a lot faster, as he was able to read Kongthoranee punches and kick to either lean back or just move out of range just slightly for Kongthoranee to miss all the shots. This allowed him to shift the focus from defending to attacking, countering Kongthoraanee's strike, especially with his hand combination that he have bring out finally after so long that he haven't been doing his amazing hand combination in the ring. However, Nong-O letting go of his guard did bring a really dangerous moment in the middle of round 2, where in the middle of Nong-O just throwing hand on Kongthoranee, he was able to throw a counter that landed flush on Nong-O, and that punch almost sat Nong-O down. I would even say almost sent him to sleep, because Kongthoranee was going in. He was trying to put Nong-O down, because he really need to do that also, because first round he obviously lost. So second round come, he saw an opportunity. He went all in, trying to finish Nong-O. However, Nong-O somehow was able to stand. After this moment where Nong-O back was against the rope, he looked up at Kongthoranee, he kind of gained back his consciousness and kind of recovered, and he started just bobbing. His head movement was on point. Kongthoranee was just swinging, trying to land any punch at all to put Nong-O down, but Nong-O, with his experience, was really careful, just the slightest of movement, dodging Kongthoranee, saving his life at that moment. And when the last round come, Nong-O was having a really good balance of using his head movement and his blocking, just keeping up his relentless attack, pressure Kongthoranee, and I truly believe that Nong-O has won the first and the third round. Kongthoranee might have won the second round, but altogether a really decisive and just amazing performance by the unkillable king of Muay Thai, Nong-O Hama. And that is everything I want to talk about this breakdown. So yep, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and drop me a like if you really like it. But anyway, thank you for watching. Let's just see you in the next video. I'm not sure which fight I will be breaking down next, but if you have a suggestion, do drop it down in the comment because I will be reading all of them. Thanks for watching and see you next time.